And here we are with Game 2 of Round 1 of Swiss at the Bristol October 2014 tournament held at Excelsior Games. Myself there on the left, playing Pretzel Quetzal, and Pete from Oxford there on the right, playing Tenon Institute. So we've got some interesting decks. First and foremost, no MBN, which is always a positive thing, and I would dare say you probably shouldn't get used to that too much for the rest of the casts, but spoiler alert, but not that it comes as a huge surprise to anyone, I dare say. So my Quetzal deck, it's a little bit unusual, I'll admit. The basic principle of it is Siphon Recursion. So obviously it has all the good Anarch stuff, i.e. 3 imps, 3 mediums, 3 parasites, 3 knights. Has a fairly standard breaker suite of 1 corroder, 1 Morningstar, a little unusual, I'll go on to that in a moment, as well as a couple of Fems, a Mimic and 2 Yogs, as well as 3 Data Suckers. So it's a fairly standard build. The idea of it is I also have 3 Duggers in the build to draw a stupid amount of cards, dump them all into the heap, and then either use Deja Vus to bring certain key cards back, or to use retrieval runs to go in and bring out Fems and Morningstars for dealing with Elis and so forth. I mean, typically this is a deck that's designed to be fast, as every runner deck has to be at the moment, in order to deal with the behemoth that is NBN. And so, you know, Siphon Recursion, hugely powerful against all factions, especially if you see it early on. If not, hey, medium, lovely. We'll break all those barriers for free. Being able to break wraparounds without having to go and find a corroder is huge, especially in Anarch, who lack the tutoring abilities to go and get it. And that's kind of why I have Duggars in the build, in the deck. It is to kind of push the emergency crap I need something button. And against Tenon I'm also feeling fairly confident. Obviously a deck full of ice walls and so forth. It's going to be a good thing, I suggest. So he's going to install. So we've got an upgrade into R&D already, which is interesting. I'm going to click 1, play a Data Sucker, and click 2, probably going to run here, see if I can get any value out of Quetzal's ability. And it's one of those things that's very easy to forget very quickly. So he's going to res a, whatchamacallit, the one that lowers ice res cost by 2 and res an ice wall, so not a huge amount of value out of that, but that's fine. I will of course break the ice wall. He's saying, how are you going to break it? I'm saying, good old Pretzel Quetzal, my friend. And he said, ah yes, I remember now. So I will break. I'm just debating whether to trash the upgrade here, or whether to, yes I will, so I'm going to trash the upgrade rather than him start steamrollering it. I'm going to access and see a hedge fund. So he's got a good card coming, certainly. Second click, I'm probably going to run HQ here, try and pressure him to res another piece of ice, which he does, and it's another ice wall. And as a result, I obviously have to bounce off that, and I have no way of getting through it currently. But useful to know for those times where I see a Siphon. I can now have free and easy access into both servers for no money. Phenomenally good. And I think probably playing both ice walls is the right call. You either kind of play one, either play 2 or none at all, effectively, because 1 is getting you absolutely no mileage, whereas at least with 2, you're limiting the amount of runs I can make on the key server. So he's going to play Jackson and use him. And seeing a pup, I believe, there in hand. And I say the great thing about Quetzal's ability is that it's not about ice placement, as in with kit, wherein obviously you're looking for the code gates to most certainly not be the top ice. You're looking for them to be underneath, and so ice placement becomes less of an issue. He's going to lock down R&D as best he can. I think that is the pup he's just played, which he will res for 1. And so I will probably pay the 2 and break an access just to have a look. I don't think I want to lose any cards just yet, so I will have a little look-see and see a shadow. And I'll gain another Data Sucker token. At the very least, that's giving me the ability now to go and fetch the parasites I need. I've seen a Morningstar there, which is absolutely no good. And I'm going to take a credit and pass the turn. I'm going to ditch the Morningstar, because that's not very useful when it comes to ice walls. And at the very least, I suppose I can always bring it back with the retrieval run. So he'll see the shadow in hand. He's only on 1 credit, so there is certainly no haste here. I'm denying him all advancement tokens by ensuring I make a successful run each turn. He'll draw Jackson, seeing 2 more cards. Let's go another Jackson. So no agenda flood. I don't think he's got any agendas in hand there particularly at all. He's just going to take 2 credits and pass the turn. again, just to reiterate my token setup there, it's the Broken Egg game set, so green ones are 1s, blue ones are 2s, orange ones are 3s. Just to make sure everyone's clear. So I've drawn Seeing a Deja Vu. I need to get my economy sorted here, and I haven't seen much of it, unfortunately. I will run HQ, just to have a look, see that shadow again. And I gain a Data Sucker token. Again, it's just to prevent him from getting any advancement tokens on the ice walls without obviously paying for them. And I'll take 2 credits. Oh, so gain a credit. And last click, I will take another credit. Taking me up to 3. And I'll discard a Plascrete, which I don't think I need there. And despite having seen the shadow, I'm not too worried, to be truthful. I'm not expecting Scorch out of 10 in. Doesn't seem like a very natural fit. He will hedge fund, of course, and gain some cash. And I will then draw. And I think I've got a Duggars there in hand, so I'm tempted to potentially just push the Duggars button. I will run HQ, have a look, see an Eli. He's got a lot of barriers already, either in hand or on the board. So it's, yeah, question here is, do I kind of just keep pushing the reset button with Duggars, hoping to find those key siphons to be able to go in and do what I need? I'm going to take 2 credits and discard. And discarding a Knight. Again, not hugely useful, though it could become useful if he starts advancing the ice walls. The great thing about Knight is that it can break into any piece of ice for 2. A single celebrity anyway. He's got a celebrity gift, which is brilliant because it means I can focus my attention elsewhere. And he has got the Trick of Light in hand. He does have the medical research agenda there, so currently a 4-2 rather than a 3-2 or a 2-2. But if I do score 1 off the top of R&D, it may be worth considering trying to go in and get that. But for the time being, that's okay. But he's got lots of cash now. There's no denying that. And I've got a sure gamble in hand there, so I think that's what I was trying to build up towards credit-wise. So at least now I've got a bit of cash. Always Anarch's problem is the economy system, and that's why he's running siphons. And why it hurts if you don't see him on it. It is very much a kind of anatomy of our Anarch deck. So I'm thinking here of kind of getting rid of all my cards so that I can Duggars up next turn without having to discard too much. So I will pay 2, I'll have a look at R&D, just have a little look at a little access, see nothing. I will play Duggars for 2. And last click, I will play an Imp. Because why not? I just want to get it out of hand so I can Duggars up and start looking to see those siphons. That's what I need now. Siphon, siphon, siphon. Go in, take all his money away, and at the same time, build up my own little nice pot of cash. So he's thinking I'm going to go against R&D here. He would be wrong. It's definitely HQ I'm after now at this stage. I want to try and prevent him from snowballing into a taxing style deck. At the moment, everything's cheap to break. That could easily change, and as soon as he starts locking me out, it gets worse and worse and worse. So I will Duggars. Looks like a scene. There's 2 siphons, beautiful. 10 cards. Oh, and a medium, fantastic. A couple of parasites, very handy. And now comes the difficult part of the Duggars equation, i.e., what do you get rid of? And that really is a challenge. Getting rid of 5, 6, 7 cards is not a small order at all. So I'm getting rid of the spinal modems. Not sure about that. It might be worth keeping one of them, but again, it's a problem as to how much you keep here. I've ditched 1 parasite, so I think I've got another one in hand. Again, I can always deja vu 2 of them back, so that's not too bad. I've got a medium, which I'm going to discard as well. I can bring that back with I've got another retrieval run there in hand. The classic mistake I tend to make with this deck is discarding the cards I actually need and holding on to the recursion to then bring those cards back. And so I end up paying through the nose to bring a card I could have just had in hand onto the board. But I like to go, I like options. I like having the option to bring anything back, so I'll keep all my recursion. When actually that isn't necessarily the best move, needless to say. He will advance his ice wall. I will then go ahead and siphon. And I'm happy to siphon the blind piece of ice here because I know I've got another in hand, as well as a deja vu. So I'm just going to run on the assumption here that I can break it, and I probably can't, but I want to give it a whirl. And he is going to res a Shadow, which is absolutely fine because I have no intention of clearing tags at this stage anyway. He's more than welcome to take some money. I'll take a tag, and I'll just plough on through and siphon him. Happy days. And I think this is potentially the problem with porous ice in 10 in. It's not ideal. You need a lot of end the run in 10, and I think to make the ability count, to make it work. And obviously a lot of end the run, you'll find yourself in barrier territory, and that's where Quetzal lives. That's where she makes bread, and she enjoys life to the max. So I will go through and siphon successfully here after having taken a tag from the Shadow, at which point obviously I'll break the Ice Wall for free, take 10 credits, and take another 2 tags. So again, just to remind you, the orange ones there are 3s, the greens are 1s, and the blues are 2s. And I'll gain my data sucker token. And with 2 imps as well, now I can start denying him, keep things in hand. I don't mind him scoring an agenda or 2 here. I should have the tools to be able to do what I need. I'm going to draw. I do have to be a little bit cautious here around Scorch, having already ditched a Blast Creep before seeing the Shadow, where it makes me think, I don't know if I like that. Shadow always makes me think Scorch is a possibility. I'm going to Parasite the pup. Not sure if that's the right call. So there we go, double Ice Wall. Fantastic. Probably didn't need to res that one. I would have had to have bounced off the other one anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure about parasiting the pup. The plan obviously is to put another parasite in the bin so I can Deja Vu 2 back and then parasite everything else. If I can open up R&D, I can really start hurting him with the top deck. He's going to install, advance, Trick of Light, and score out presumably a Brain Trust. Yes, indeed. It is a Brain Trust. Taking him to 2 points. But that's fine. Not too worried about that one. I can let one agenda go. That's not a problem. I'm going to Deja Vu here for 2. First click, and probably unsurprisingly I'm going to bring back 2 parasites, start popping off those ice walls, and opening up R&D. So I can just keep on running. So I'm going to parasite them both. I'm then going to run. I'm going to use the data suckers to kill them, and I'm going to access a card, and I will see an agenda. So that was nice, and somewhat unfortunate on his part, but I will take the top deck any day. Thank you very much. So suddenly R&D here is wide open. He knows I've got siphons in the deck, and I have the ability to get into HQ without any worries at this stage. I can always Duggars back up for 10 cards if I'm running out of steam. Obviously he could trash my Duggars. I am tagged at this stage, but he's not exactly flush with cash himself, so he's stuck very much in a rock and a hard place. Eli's are okay against Quetzal, but nothing exceptional. And drawing up here, possibly not the best option, although, you know, he does have the Jackson. He can discard down. What he needs here is economy, and he needs ice. He just needs to start making it too taxing for me to get into his central service, and to enable him to start waiting for another Trick of Light play. He needs those advancement counters coming onto his ice. But there's no doubt here that Quetzal absolutely wrecks 10 in Institute, just for the ice walls alone, for no other reason. So I will run R&D. I'll see another pup, which I'll pay 2 and I'll access, and see another Eli, which I'm going to happily trash because I don't want to start him building up taxing ice there. So thank you very much, Mr. Imp. I'm debating here whether to go again or whether to start saving up a little bit of economy. Got a Fem in hand, that's not much good. But I am going to go again. I'm going to see a medical research fundraiser, which is fine because if he uses that I get my money back. Fantastic. And I think deciding here whether to run the Jackson, I think I'm running Archives, mainly because I've got a retrieval run in hand, so it's another possibility for the future. He will use Jackson Howard, which is good. I'm happy to take the Jackson off the board, and he's going to put all 3 face down cards back into R&D. Which is fine, absolutely fine. Seeing another Jackson Howard, have a quick look-see. And also, again, I just kind of want to get a feel there for Archives, see if he's going to potentially res the ice and keep me out. And if he doesn't, it makes retrieval runs all the more tempting to be able then to go in and retrieve a Fem or a Morningstar or whatever might be useful at the time. Maybe even a medium. It might not be saving me any money, but at the moment R&D is vulnerable to some heavy medium digging. I'll draw there. Yeah, so not too bad. I might have been tempted just to kind of take the card hit and go in and look on R&D again, but I do have to be careful of the snare here potentially. I think he's got the money to do it. I'm not 100% on that. His hand's in the way at the moment, but I'm fairly sure he's got the ability to trigger a snare. I've got another siphon in hand, so I can go. Yep, he's only on 2 credits actually, so he wouldn't have been able to trigger the snare anyway. So he's in a bit of an economic pit here. He's got a Lotus Field there, which would do good work, but is he ever going to get the point where he can actually afford to res it? It's a tough one. And again, as soon as his tempo slows down, I'm quite happy just to draw 10 cards, pick all the best ones, and then get ready to go again. He'll draw. Not sure what he's looking for here. I think probably needs to be clicking for credits rather than drawing cards. He's making his hand more vulnerable. Yeah, it's a difficult situation. So he really is drawing all the cards, which is is an interesting option. I think he probably would be better off just taking some cash here. He needs to start building up money to be able to make his service taxing and get those advancement counters when he needs them. Because if he can't get those advancement counters, he's never going to be able to trigger light out the agendas from hand. And it doesn't look like he's in a position to set up remote servers at this stage in the game. Even though it's only 2 agendas each, you kind of have a feeling here that it could turn on its head quite quickly. Everything's vulnerable, very porous at the moment, without me installing any breakers whatsoever. So I will draw first click and see a Plascrete, which is not a lot of use. Again, obviously always tempted to install a Plascrete, but I'm fine. I'll live without it at this stage. I was very close to running. So I was going to. I took the net damage there through pup. I'm glad I did because I got the opportunity to trash a Caprice, which was nice. But I was very tempted to run Public Sympathy here over Plascrete. I'm running 2 Plascretes. I would have liked to have run 3 Public Sympathies just to get a little bit extra mileage out of Duggars, and kind of not just be a dead card against decks that I'm assuming aren't running any tag and bag. There was quite a lot of Jinteki PE there on the tournament in Bristol, and obviously a lot of them running the sort of Cambridge Regionals deck, the very successful one that's on the Appreciate casts, and absolutely they run Scorched, so it's always worth having a Plascrete available. So he's got a Claim Retirement there in hand, but he needs the money quite desperately. I think he only showed me 4 cards there, as opposed to the 5. Oh no, no, he did show me 5. That's fine, I'll go in and siphon him. Fantastic. You gain 10? No problem, I'd like to gain 10 as well, please. So I'll let him have another 2. I'll take another tag, I'll break the ice wall, and I will drain him of 5, giving myself another glorious 10 credits. And another 2 tags, but I'm, again, not too worried about the tags. Certainly not tempted to do it. I will run R&D there, I believe, see a Trick of Light, which I'll trash with Imp. I'll score the Brain Trust, and I'll go again, and I'll see a Hedge Fund, and that's fine. So again, trashing the Brain, trashing the Trick of Light, absolutely huge against this kind of deck, even though he's got no advancement counters at the moment. I'm not going to let that one sit there. Definitely trash the Trick of Lights, as he has no remote server set up. It completely makes sense. Got a stupid amount of suckers counters now to be able to fund my parasites, and very much ready to go, and like I say, without a single breaker at this stage, doing the damage without any breakers at all. Good old Quetzal. I'm very fond of her ability, I think it's very strong. I was umming and ahhing between taking Wizard or Quetzal, and I think Quetzal is the stronger runner. I'm not a huge fan of Noise, I'm not a massive fan of Rainer. I think Quetzal now will probably be my go-to Anarch runner, though I will probably always have a small love affair with Wizard and his somewhat podgy frame. having the 3 recurring credits to trash is very strong against the very popular archetypes, i.e. MBN and RP and so forth. But there's nothing quite like negating those key cards like Wraparound and Ice Walls. Even making Eli's less effective is incredibly worthwhile. So his medical research fundraiser, fantastic. I'll have 3 credits for that. Thank you very much. Well, Duggars, thank you very much. I've pretty much exhausted all my useful cards, so I'm going to go and look for some more. Ooh, there's a medium there, another Siphon. Brilliant. So, again, this is the joy of Duggars. Ditch the cards I don't need. I'm going to completely reset. Don't need a Data Sucker. Don't need that spare Yogg. I've got another one in hand. And I'm ready to go again. Ditch an Imp. Just being able to refresh my hand with another 5 absolutely tip-top fantastic cards for that moment in the game is so good. And yet, Duggars still isn't, it's not really the card you want to trash, but getting 20 cards worth of draw out of it, you cannot argue its value. That being said, I'm very much looking forward to Inject in the next pack, the draw 4 cards. I think that will be incredibly useful. He's going to claim retirement, play the claim retirement, score it, and path to turn, that's fine. He's still a way off being able to score out here. He's got a lot of credits. I'm tempted to Siphon. Yeah, I'm very tempted to say Inject. I think will fit into this deck much more naturally than Duggars will, even though there's nothing that quite beats the joy of drawing 10 cards. But it's all about just getting that extra bit of consistency out of Anarch, and I do think Duggars is a real option, to be able to do it. The only cards I wish I could find room for are same old things, effectively, to better recur the Siphons. But there we go, retrieval run. I'll bring the Fen back out, and I'll stick a lovely kissy counter there on that res piece of ice. I will Siphon. So he'll gain 2 credits, I'll gain a tag, and I'll break his Ice Wall, taking 10, and gaining another 2 tags. I have lots of tags here, basically, I think is the moral of the story. So I'm just going to go through and look for my special number. So I think I'm on 6 or 7 tags there, which is fine. I've got the medium in hand, which I will play for 3 credits, and I will run R&D, please. Thank you very much. So I'll pay 2. I'll access. Oh, I'll see a Brain Trust. That is unlucky. That's definite bad luck there against Pete, unfortunately. And I will take a medium counter for the privilege. Not a lot of point in clearing virus counters at this stage, but he's got to be feeling like the game's pretty much come to an end. All I have to do here is keep deep digging R&D. He has to try and stop it somehow. And if all he's got in hand are barriers, he's not going to get very far with it, unfortunately. But with me putting huge pressure, oh, he's giving me some money. I can understand why he's doing that. Again, after a Siphon, it's not going to make much difference. He's certainly not going to tax me out here. I'm on match point. I'm ready to go in and score the winning agenda out of R&D with a medium dig. So again, it's a question here of how do you survive against that kind of central assault. He's got the money to hopefully be able to res whatever that piece of ice is on R&D, but I'm certainly going to make him res it. And it's a Lotus Field. That will indeed keep me out. And that's fine. I will Deja Vu. I'll play a Yogg. This may be a misplay, folks, and I may be doing something ridiculously illegal, which I apologise for profusely to my opponent, completely forgetting that I can't use Data Sucker counters on Lotus Field, remembering that I can go through and I can't use Parasites on it, but forgetting that I can't use Data Sucker tokens. So this is in fact an incredibly illegal play, of which I do seem to make a couple every now and again, and I apologise to my opponent Pete profusely for not recognising that this was absolutely should not have been the game, and apologise for that, ladies and gentlemen. Should have had to have gone and fetch a knight to deal with that with the Lotus Field, rather than making an illegal play on it. So apologies I did not deserve to win the game in that manner, though I would suggest that it probably was a relatively foregone conclusion at that stage, though that's probably no comfort to my opponent. Anyway, so we go on to the next round of Swiss, round 2 with a 4 prestige, perhaps somewhat undeservedly, but join us there for more illegal plays.